It was a quiet Friday in a small American town. The local mosque, nestled between the library and a row of modest shops, was filling with worshippers gathered for the Friday prayer. A sacred calm hung in the air, the kind of peace found only in the remembrance of Allah. Across the street, a woman held a phone, her heart filled with bitterness. Her name was Megan, a 28-year-old who had gained some online fame through bold and scandalous videos. She wasn't known for kindness or respect, especially toward Muslims. Her followers had egged her on to do something shocking, and Megan, always craving attention, accepted the challenge. The plan was outrageous. Enter the mosque, pretend to join the worshippers, and start dancing in front of them. She intended to secretly record it and post it online. She whispered to her friend Lori, who agreed to go along. "Let's go viral." They draped themselves in long coats to blend in. Megan smirked, hiding a tiny camera in her scarf. The girls slipped in through a side entrance of the mosque, posing as curious visitors. Volunteers warmly greeted them. One woman even offered to show them where to sit. Megan nodded politely, her heart racing with anticipation. She followed her guide to the women's prayer area. As the imam began the sermon, Megan quietly activated the hidden camera. Her heart pounded, but she felt powerful. She was about to do something that would shock millions. But she didn't know that Allah's house is unlike other places. It's guarded not only by people, but also by angels. As the worshippers lined up for prayer, Megan and Lori took their places behind the rows, watching closely. When the imam said Allahu Akbar and the prayer began, Megan nodded to Lori. As everyone bowed in sujud, Megan stepped forward and began her performance. She shed her coat, revealing modest clothing, and started moving provocatively. Lori followed, though hesitantly, but before she could take a second step, something strange happened. The mosque's lights flickered, the air grew heavy, as if a storm had descended on the building. A few worshippers gasped, not because of the girls, but for something else. Suddenly, an inexplicable darkness filled the room, though it was midday. Megan laughed nervously and waved her arms. "Look at me," she whispered to the camera. "They're too scared to say anything." But as she turned to Lori, she froze. Lori collapsed to the floor, trembling violently, her eyes wide with terror. Megan panicked, reached to lift her, and felt a burning pain in her hands. Her legs gave out, her vision blurred. A strange voice, deep and resonant, filled her ears, though no one else heard it. "You mocked sacred things, but mercy still exists." Chaos erupted. Worshippers rushed to help the two women. The imam halted the prayer and approached, unsure of what was happening. Some tried to call emergency services, but their phones wouldn't work. Every screen showed a blinding white light. An elderly man, Hafiz Umar, who had lived in the neighborhood for 30 years and knew the Quran by heart, stepped forward. His heart was calm as panic swirled around him. He raised his hands and softly recited, "Allah will protect you from them, and He is the all-hearing, the all-knowing." Quran 2:137. When he finished, the light returned. Lori, still on the floor, was sobbing, clutching her chest. "I saw them," she whispered. "Angels with wings of fire and light. They stood behind the worshippers. They weren't angry. They were crying." Megan was speechless. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her camera had melted into the scarf, the memory card reduced to ash. Silence fell over the mosque. No one moved, no one knew what to do, until Lori, barely able to stir, said the unthinkable, "Please teach me to pray." Minutes later, medics arrived. But the scene in the mosque wasn't what they expected. Lori sat quietly on a prayer rug, head bowed, crying, not from pain, but from something deeper. Megan remained silent, hands trembling, unable to speak. She kept looking around the mosque, as if still seeing something others couldn't. The Imam, Sheikh Hamza, approached her gently and asked, "Do you need help?" Lori looked up. "We came to humiliate you, but I feel humbled by the truth." She turned to the gathered crowd, her voice shaking. "I don't know what happened, but something entered my heart. I never believed in anything. But when I mocked you, I saw something I shouldn't have. I felt something I shouldn't have. There's something special in this place." Before continuing, if you're new to our channel, Miracle of Islam, please subscribe now. "Thank you." She looked at Megan, who still couldn't speak. The Imam remained calm. You entered with disrespect, but Allah's house is not like other places. Sometimes, instead of punishment, Allah gives a sign, a mercy, a chance to change. Megan, sitting on the rug, covered her face and began to sob quietly, uncontrollably, her body shaking. For the first time, the mocker fell silent, but her heart was screaming. Lori whispered, "Is it too late for us?" The Imam smiled gently. The doors of repentance are never closed. The next day, the story spread like wildfire. Reporters crowded outside the mosque, cameras flashing. Headlines screamed, "Two women collapsed during mosque prank. Strange incident baffles authorities. Miracle or mass hypnosis? The mystery of the American mosque. Viral stunt turns into public spiritual awakening." But inside the mosque, a quieter, more powerful story unfolded. The next day, Lori returned, dressed in a long gown and headscarf. She wasn't filming or mocking. She sat quietly, listening to women recite Quranic verses. An elderly sister brought her a copy of the Quran in English. Megan, still recovering, began writing. Her voice hadn't returned, but her thoughts were clearer than ever. In a notebook, she wrote, "I came to destroy faith but destroyed my pride. I entered to disturb but was shaken myself. I don't know what I saw, but I know what I felt. Until now, I didn't know what peace was." That evening, Lori raised her hands before the entire community and spoke the words, "La ilaha illallah." The mosque echoed with a takbir, "Allahu Akbar." A tear rolled down Megan's cheek. She couldn't yet say those words, but her heart began to whisper them. 2 weeks later, Megan shut down all her social media accounts. Her old followers mocked her disappearance. Some accused her of staging the incident. Others were sure it was just another failed viral stunt. But she no longer cared. One evening, after Maghrib, she returned to the mosque alone. The Imam saw her sitting on a back rug, staring at the mihrab in awe. He sat beside her. "Have you come for answers?" Megan looked up but didn't speak. She wrote in her notebook, "I used to believe everything had a reason. Now I believe everything has a creator." He smiled gently. "You'll find your voice again if your heart truly turns to Allah." Then something happened. As she gazed at the minbar, a sudden silence filled the mosque, not from the absence of sound, but from the presence of something, as if something divine had entered the room. Megan gasped, clutching her chest. Slowly, her lips began to move. "La ilaha illallah." The Imam's eyes widened. "Muhammadur Rasulullah." Her voice returned, but it wasn't the same. It was calm, pure, full of faith. And so, Megan became Maryam, a name she chose to honor the woman Allah purified above all women. Today, Lori and Maryam study the Quran. They speak at mosques, sharing their story with other women, reminding the world, don't mock what you don't understand, for what you ridicule today may save you tomorrow. What was meant to be a scandal became a sermon. What was meant to humiliate became healing. And what was meant to be a viral prank became the beginning of two souls returned to their Creator. As the Quran says, Allah invites to the abode of peace and guides whom He wills to the straight path. Quran 10:25. Let this story be a reminder that a mosque is not just a building, it's a door between heaven and earth, and sometimes that door opens wide enough for even the most lost hearts to enter.